Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 18, we see the promise of the second coming, the promise of the last, the promise of the prophet like Moshe. There are many Christians, because they don't understand the second coming, and I want to make that clear from this moment. There are many Christians who misinterpret a teaching of Paulus, because he's talking about how Messiah is the prophet like Moshe, but he's talking about Messiah as first and last as one. That's why he mentions the prophet like Moshe in a prophetical way regarding the second coming, but in a spiritual way regarding the first coming, because Yahushua redeemed our soul from hell by forgiving our sins. The second, the last, like Moshe, will redeem the bodies, the minds, from the slavery to the world, to sin. Because it is one thing to know that you shouldn't sin, and another to understand why you shouldn't sin. And there is a difference between not sinning because you know it's bad, but wanting to do it, and not wanting to sin simply because you understand that it's just not right. So Yahushua came to give the truth. The last comes to explain it, to give understanding of it, because most people really didn't get it, but it had to do with the way that Yahweh would manifest. As I have explained, first comes wisdom, then comes understanding. So Yahushua came as the wisdom of the Father manifested in the flesh, the Spirit of Yahweh in the flesh. Wisdom, the truth, because the fear of Yahweh is the beginning of wisdom. The fear of Yahweh gives us wisdom to realize who Messiah is. And when we know Messiah, we know the Father. So he is the wisdom. He brings us and gives us wisdom. But one thing is to have wisdom, and another one is to understand that wisdom which you have received. And you need both tools. The wisdom is like a flash of light, an idea, a revelation, while understanding is order, takes time, is putting in order that idea, that revelation, into why it is what it is, to understand it logically and being able to explain it to those who may not understand the first. So in Deuteronomy 18 verse 15 says, Yahweh your Elohim will raise up for you a prophet like me from your midst. There it is. The prophecy, Yahweh then mentioned it in Isaiah. I repeat in case you missed it. Yahweh your Elohim will raise up. The word raise up, Yahweh uses it for the second coming, because it is raised from the root, as a branch also from the stump. It will raise up like the dream of Joseph, when he saw that the things that they had, his brothers had harvested, were bending or kneeling to the one that he had harvested, to him. So he said to them, please hear this dream which I have dreamt. In Genesis 37 verse 6, now the 7 says, there we were binding sheaves in the field. Then behold, my sheaf arose, and also stood upright. And indeed your sheaf stood all around and bowed down to my sheaf. So he's saying my sheaf arose. The word in Hebrew is kumah, the verb, but the root is kum. So in Judaism it is taught that every time, and this is, I mentioned Judaism in case you wanted to go research it, but if I am saying it, is because of course I believe it, because that is one of the keys of interpretation. One of the keys of how to interpret the scriptures is to connect words. Yahweh uses words in a perfect way, so the words that he chose to use in each instance, he chose it for a reason, in many ways prophetical, or something to teach us through it. So For instance, one key is that you based your interpretation of a symbol or a metaphor on the first mention of that word. So you go back to the Torah and you look for the word and see how the word is used. And mainly, the first instance where that word appears in scriptures will give you a hint of how to interpret it, how to take it, what it represents, what it means every time that it appears in scriptures. So in this case, the word that it is being translated as arose is kuma. Kuma. And through that, we understand that every time that the word kuma or kum is used in scriptures is to represent the manifestation, the prophetical manifestation in the end times of this prophecy that was given to Joseph. So he said that his sheaf arose, and we are seeing, we just saw in Deuteronomy 18:15 that Moshe said to the people, Yahweh your Elohim will raise up for you. So it is connected. The prophecy that was given to Joseph in Genesis 37 was mentioned once again in Deuteronomy 18 verse 15, because he would be raised up. Kuma says, for you a prophet like me, meaning a prophet like Moshe, the witness like Moshe, from your midst, meaning from the middle, amongst the congregation. So it was given, the prophecy in Genesis 37 through a dream to Joseph, the father of the second coming, genetically. Then Moshe comes and confirms it with the same words, raise up a prophet like Moshe from your midst. And in Isaiah 41:4 we see that Yahweh says, I Yahweh am the first, and with the last I am he. Meaning, and in the midst of the last I will arise, to fulfill the prophecies given to Joseph, Moshe, and the rest. I hope that is clear, because I do believe it's very important. And to understand it a lot better, we can go to Genesis 49. While you go to Genesis 49, I will finish reading this part of Deuteronomy 18:15. Then Yahweh your Elohim will raise up for you a prophet like me from your midst, from your brethren. Listen that it says from your brethren, your brethren. So it wasn't necessarily from Moshe or from Levi, from the tribe of Levi or Levi. He's saying from your brethren, so he would be from another tribe. And as I already explained, that tribe would come from Joseph, from whom came Ephraim and Menashe. The second coming, comes from Ephraim. So it says, from your brethren, him you shall hear. Him you shall hear. Why? Because he is the voice, and the voice, you hear it. Like the sheep hear the voice of the good shepherd and know him. Verse 16, according to all you desired of Yahweh your Elohim in Horeb in the day of the assembly, saying, let me not hear again the voice of Yahweh my Elohim, nor let me see this great fire anymore, lest I die. So the people said, we don't want to see the fire nor hear the voice of the angel. So Yahweh said, I will turn that angel into a man who will be the last manifestation of Yahweh on earth, the voice, the good shepherd, the hen, the consuming fire. Yahushua came as the water of life. The second coming is as the consuming fire. That's why they said, nor let me see this great fire anymore. The second coming is the voice and the great fire. The first coming is the word and the water of life. In Judaism, they believe in two messiahs. Messiah ben Yosef, Messiah ben David. In that order. That's how they believe it. So in Judaism, like I said, they believe in two Israelites that would be anointed. Anointed means Mashiach, or actually I should say Mashiach means anointed. So they believe in two Mashiachs, in two Messiahs, in two people from Israel who would be anointed in order to fulfill the prophecies. That is how they see it in Judaism. First, one from Joseph, Mashiach ben Yosef. You can look for it like that. And second, Mashiach ben David. Mashiach ben Yosef, Mashiach ben David, the two messiahs in Judaism. That is actually correct, however, in a different order, but that I will explain in a bit. That is actually correct, and that is what Christians get wrong. Because for Christians, it's not two messiahs, it's one that appears two different times. Like Alejandro just said, the second time being Revelation 19, as Christians believe, in the war of Armageddon at the end of the 7 years, which makes no sense, and I will explain why later on. So, Judaism believes in two messiahs in one time, one manifestation. Comes Yosef, he fights in a war, he gets killed, then Messiah ben David comes and resurrects him and fulfills the rest. So to them, to Judaism, two messiahs in one time. But in Christianity, one Messiah, two times. So it is pretty similar. And what is funny is that both have something right, but both have a lot wrong. So if we study Christianity and all the doctrines of Christianity, if we study Judaism and the doctrines that they have to do, that they believe regarding Messiah, and if then we go to scriptures, we are going to see that scriptures speaks of two messiahs like Judaism, and speaks of two different times in which those two messiahs would manifest, having in the middle 2,000 years. First and the last. So Christianity has a right, two comings. That's why they believe in the first 2,000 years ago. But Judaism has right, two messiahs. So, two Israelim that would be anointed for one moment in history. The first would be through the tribe of Yahusef or Yosef, who would die in the war. And the second through the tribe of Yehudah, who would resurrect the first and bring peace. Two men, one time. In Christianity, the way they see it, Messiah is the incarnation of the Almighty through the tribe of Yehudah, one time to die for men. And he himself, the same person from the tribe of Yehudah, would come from the heavens to pick up during the rapture, and then what some people call the second coming, they say is the rapture, some people say is the war of Armageddon. Either way, he won't be born again. They don't mention nothing to do with the tribe of Joseph. In Christianity, you will never hear anybody talking about somebody from the tribe of Joseph as being important, because they don't understand the second coming. So they only understand that from the tribe of Yehudah, die, resurrects, and then he doesn't have to be born again. He doesn't have to die again. He only has to come and pick up everybody. So one man, two times. Judaism, two men, one time. Christianity, one man, two times. If we get the thesis and the antithesis, we get the synthesis, which is basically the truth. In this case, when we get all the prophecies and the doctrine that some have, the doctrine that others have, with the scriptures, we can bring down the falsehood of each and come to the truth. The truth is, as I have already been saying it, that Yahweh would manifest twice on earth through two men, through two different tribes during two different times in history. So yeah, there is 2,000 years between the first and the last. Yeah, like Christians believe in those 2,000 years between first and second coming. However, they don't understand that he would have to be born again, like the Jewish people do, that he would have to be born from two tribes, two different tribes. So the first coming, he would appear as the light of the world, because he came in the fourth millennium, when the light of the world was created. During the fourth day of creation, the sun was created. That's why Yahushua appeared during the fourth millennium, the fourth day, because to Yahweh 1 day is like 1,000 days. Like 1,000 years, I'm sorry. 1 day like 1,000 years. So during the fourth day, Yahweh created the sun, the light of the world. During the fourth millennium, Yahushua appeared as the light of the world. During the sixth day, Yahweh created men. So during the sixth millennium, Yahweh would manifest as the Son of Man. So the light of the world, the Son of Man. Fourth millennium, sixth millennium. 2,000 years in the middle. First and second coming. First and last. The first, as we know, came from the tribe, genetically, came from the tribe of Yehudah. The first, genetically, came from the tribe of Yehudah. But as we are going to see, he rejected being called son of David. He claimed, he confirmed that he is the root of David. The root of David, not the son of David. So even though he genetically was the son of David, spiritually he is the root of David. In the same way, just like genetically he was the son of David, spiritually he was the son of Joseph. How is that? His stepfather, husband of Miriam, husband of Miriam, was called Joseph. So we see in the scriptures that Yahushua was called Yahushua ben Yosef, Yahushua son of Joseph. Everybody thought he was son of Joseph. So Yahushua came as the son of Joseph, symbolically, spiritually, as Judaism expected the son of Joseph to come first. But physically or genetically, he came as the son of David. And that's why Christianity doesn't understand the son of Joseph as the second coming. I hope I'm not confusing anybody. I'm explaining all this as an introduction for what I am about to read in Genesis 49. So, just like the first came genetically through David, the tribe of Yehudah, symbolically he was the son of Joseph, because Joseph was the name of the husband of Miriam. The second coming happens the same the other way around. He will come genetically from Joseph through the tribe of Ephraim. However, through his belief in Yahushua, he will become a Yahudi. He will be connected to the root of David, and therefore he will become the branch of David, the son of David. Because in Yahushua there's no Greek, there is no Yahudi, because we are one in him, and he is Yahudi. So even though a person may be from the tribe of Ephraim, as it is the case with the last, by accepting Yahushua he becomes a Yahudi. Genetically Ephraim, spiritually Yahudi. So he can fulfill the second coming, which has those two characteristics basically. So first and last, the first came as the Kohen Gadol or high priest. The second coming is as the king, the great king, Melech Gadol. The Kohen Gadol was Mashiach ben Yehudah, and the Melech Gadol is Mashiach ben Yahusef. That's why Yahusef became the king in Egypt. So it is one Elohim. Remember, Elohim is plural, but is used as singular when it has to do with the Father, who has authority over all powers. So one mighty one, one Elohim, as two men in two times.